and welcome to your messages for the week. Today is Sunday, the 2nd of April, 2023. Those of you that don't know me, my name is Deborah Jane Sutton. You can find out more about me and fun that I have from my website at deborahjanesutton.com, from my Facebook, Deborah Jane Sutton, and from this YouTube channel. So have a good browse around. And yeah, 2nd of April. So we're fresh into April. And I kind of reclaimed April Fool's Day traditionally, and I don't know where it comes from. So please let me know. This idea of fooling people and tricking people on April Fool's Day. It's always been a bit of light-hearted fun, I realise that, but I'm not sure the origin of it. But because of tarot, I decided to reclaim it as the Fool's, April Fool's Day, as in the Fool in tarot, who is embarking on a new fun adventure and seeing what's coming his way. And he's light-hearted and cheery, optimistic, a little bit naive in a nice way. Certainly not afraid of the unknown, taking his energy with him. And yeah, he has a song in his heart and a spring in his step. And I was thinking that's a lovely energy to start a new month with. It's a lovely energy to start any new month with, but especially one on April 1st. So he was my April Fool's Day. I did do the cards for April. I'll put a link in the description and the video in the end screen. That was very interesting, quite a few different messages that came up, including, excuse me, this ongoing message that I'm getting about, at the end of the day, all this discussing and all this, you know, whatever's going on, whatever you're doing on your journey, really the most important thing has to be, does it not, understanding how we create our reality. Understanding how individually we are responsible for what we're creating. Individually, we are responsible for the reality that we are creating. Understanding how that happens so that we can then manipulate in a positive way the energies, or we can say we can consciously direct our energies and our life force in order to create a preferred outcome, in order to create the reality that we choose. And then when we all do that, it becomes the collective reality. Now, there's lots of things going on in the world that are not going on in your reality, but you're seeing them on a screen or you're hearing about them from someone else, but they're not actually happening in your reality. So this is what I'm calling the collective reality. And when we focus on creating the reality that we choose, the reality that we want, your version of heaven on earth, when we all do that, we create heaven on earth in the collective. So it really helps. So it's coming to my attention more and more, the importance of understanding how we create our reality, which involves understanding the secrets of the universe. I mean, it was Nikola Tesla, wasn't it, who said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. But also understanding the keys to the esoteric, oh my God, I can't say it, esoteric knowledge, the knowledge that is, you know, out there. I'll stick with the universal laws, understanding the keys to the knowledge, the keys to the kingdom. There's so many keys. I keep hearing the word keys. And on the Hierophant card, there are the crossed keys, which is all about secret knowledge. Well, why does it have to be secret? It's not really secret, is it? It's there available for everyone to find if they're resonating, if they're choosing. Ask and you will be given. You know, so people that want to understand this will find the information. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. It's a bit like that, isn't it? Anyway, one of these teachings, the keys to the wisdom and all of this, is the 7 Hermetic principles, which came up at the end of April's reading. And then I felt like I just dipped my toes in it. I really wanted to understand more about it. So there are links there to a book called The Kabbalion, written in 1908. So this is nothing new. Which really go into detail. It's a sort of book that you kind of need to absorb, and it's the audiobook is on YouTube, and it's about listening. I need to listen to it many times, and every time I listen to it, I get something different from it. I mean, a lot of things are like that. We get different things from it. That's why I always recommend when I'm doing the one-to-one readings that people record what comes through, because one, I will never remember, and two, because people are always contacting me saying, oh, I was listening again to the recording and I got more information. You were saying stuff that I didn't realize you'd said the first time. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it's kind of important to listen to a lot of this stuff, a few times. So anyway, so then what I wanted to do was to do a video on the 7 Hermetic principles. But I'm very much a learner. We're all very much learners, obviously. But I asked Liz to join me, Liz Nagle. If you haven't heard of Liz Nagle, have a look at my YouTube channel. I've got a series called Self-Mastery with Liz Nagle. She's my good friend and mentor. So we did a video yesterday on, we're calling it an introduction to the 7 Hermetic principles, because she also acknowledges that, there's a depth to it that, we may not have grasped completely. We're fully aware of that. But it was our initial understandings of the 7 Hermetic principles and how they help us. I think this is an important point, understanding how these teachings can help us in our everyday life. How do we apply them in our everyday life? It's all very well listening to this, these teachings, but if it doesn't relate to your life, or you can't relate it to your life, it kind of makes that gulf or that gap. So I think that's an important point as well. So yes, so there's 2 videos since the last weekly card reading. The April ones and the introduction to the Hermetic principles with Miss Nagle. So I'll put a link in the description to that as well, and the video screen. So let's see what's coming up. So now we know that for April, studying staff, and also, obviously we don't all have to agree. We don't all have to have the same experiences. We don't all have to have the same perception and understanding of these universal laws, or whatever we want to call them. But talking about them is kind of really good, because you can hear something and it really resonates, and when it resonates. It's like your hair stand on end, or you get a little shiver, or you can feel it in the cells of your body. You can feel it in your heart when something resonates, and you think, oh wow, yeah, that makes sense. It's like a little click. It's like a little light bulb, isn't it? So those moments are really worth it. And there might be other stuff that's said, or experiences that are shared, which just go over your head, or by the side, or what have you. Or you may not agree with it. It doesn't resonate, or it may be something that you'd understood years ago, and so it just isn't important to you. So it doesn't matter, does it? It's just picking those light bulb moments, isn't it? Picking those light bulb moments, and not chasing them. I want to say, not chasing the light bulb moments, but acknowledging them. That's the one, isn't it? Acknowledging them when they come up. To see if we can, always to help us, I don't know, what do we want to do? To help us relieve the suffering, our own and the suffering of others. I think that's a desire of many people. Most people watching this will be serving others in some way, either, in their kind of full-time job, or at least, well, definitely with their energy and their frequency, and sharing their expressions, their soul expressions, expressing their divinity. So helping others, service to others is massive, isn't it? And understanding that starts with serving ourselves. We come back to that, don't we? We come back to that. I'm not getting any more cards. I've only got one card come out, and it's the Ten of Cups. Cups, look how spiritually guided it is. Right, the rays show spiritual guidance. Cups is spirituality, intuition, emotions. There's the happy families. It doesn't have to be blood families, but there's your happy families. There's your tribe. This is the happiness that comes after suffering. So I guess that's what it's talking about. It's focusing on viewing the suffering from another perspective. It's not always about releasing it. It's not about dumbing it down. It's not about talking about it till you're blue in the face. It's about looking at it differently, understanding that you've chosen on some level, on some spiritual level, you've chosen that form of suffering in order to help you learn how to look at it from another perspective. And it often boils down to just not judging situations as right or wrong. Because we've been brought up as this is right and this is wrong. This is right and this is wrong. Well, maybe that can change now. Maybe that can change now. There's a whole spectrum. We talk about this in the 7 Hermetic principles. There's a whole spectrum, right and wrong. Where does wrong stop and right start? And who says what's right and wrong? You know, there's a lot of adversities and atrocities in history where the perpetrators believed they were doing the right thing. There's a lot of that going on. People behaving immorally even, but believing that it's for the higher good. I mean, who says? Who's judging? So I'm really picking up an energy of find this happiness and this guidance and this emotional fulfillment. It really does involve releasing judgments and observing everything without it being right or wrong. And it was Paul Selig that said, when you put somebody else in the darkness, they will take you there with them. So when we say darkness, we mean judging them. So when you take somebody else, when you put somebody else in the darkness, in other words, when you make somebody else wrong, when you believe that somebody else is wrong, you put them in the darkness. They're bad, they're wrong, it's their fault, they're guilty. When you put them in the darkness like that, they will take you there. So it's an interesting one, isn't it? But where does it get us? By judging people, because it doesn't make us feel good, does it? Does it make us feel good? So we can also bring it back onto us all the time, this compassion and this love, self-love. We've talked about self-love so many times. But self-love in the beginning can be when you walk away from a toxic relationship. Self-love can be when you walk away from being abused in some way or walk away from a job that you hate. But as you keep going, self-love is giving yourself the time that you need, the solitude. Self-love is actually perceiving, sometimes behaving in a way that you perceive as selfish, putting yourself first. It isn't selfish, but it depends how it's done, of course. But when it's for the highest good of all, then it's obviously not selfish. So self-love is looking after yourself, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, putting yourself first. You know, it's that idea about when the oxygen masks come down and you put your own oxygen mask on before you help other people, because then you're coming from a place of strength, you're coming from a place of overflow, you're coming from a place of, you know, being able to do it. Whereas if you put other people's on first, you're coming from a place of depletion, you're depleting your own energies. It's wonderful to serve other people, but not from a place of depletion. We need to be serving other people from a place of overflow so that our heart and our self-love is so overflowing that we can't help but serve others. We can't help but love others unconditionally because it's just overflowing. That's the place we want to get to. But self-love, you know, the next step to self-love is always choosing a thought or a belief that makes you feel good, a thought or a belief that expands you. So when we think that somebody else is wrong or guilty or bad or it shouldn't be, we want to eradicate it from the face of the earth. How do you feel when you think that? How do you feel when you believe that? It's not a nice feeling inside, it's a contracting feeling inside. That's not self-love. Self-love is when you can look at everything with love and compassion. When you can look at everything from an expanded state of being. That way you are maintaining your being in an expanded state. You are keeping yourself in love, peace, and harmony. That's self-love. So that means choosing to look at other people with love and not with damnation or whatever. I don't normally say that word. But looking at other people, looking at the blessings in situations, looking at it from a higher perspective. They could be blessings in disguise, of course. But I'm getting this from this card because this is how we create this tribe. This is how we create the emotional fulfillment. The emotional fulfillment comes from filling up with positive emotions and seeing everything. I mean, we could look at what's happened in the world in the past few years. If it hadn't happened, people wouldn't be waking up. If it hadn't happened, you wouldn't be living the life you're living now. If it hadn't happened, you wouldn't be aware of your energy, the importance of it, the importance of sovereignty, the importance of raising your frequency, the importance of seeing the blessings, the blessings in disguise. So we can really look back at everything and see them as blessings in disguise. I'm really getting, I want to do these ones. I want to pick from here because only one came up from the tarot. So the Archangel Raphael healing cards. These are one of my original decks. I love Archangel Raphael. Ever since he appeared to me in the corner of my bedroom many, many years ago, I wasn't afraid at all. It was full of love, but I should have been afraid, or I could have been afraid. No, there's no shoulds. I'm surprised I wasn't afraid. That's what I want to say. But he just told me I was a healer. He just came and said I didn't know that he was the Archangel of healers. It was that long ago, and he just told me that I was a healer. And I went to look online and I said, "Who are you?" And he said, "Archangel Raphael." And I went to look him up online, and the image that came up online was the image that was in the corner of my bedroom. Oh, beautiful experiences. Oh. Let's see what messages Archangel Raphael has for us. Okay, 3 have come up, and 3 is often the magic. So let's have a look. They're all face down. Organic foods. Oh, I'm not surprised. This one comes up for me all the time. Yes, nearly there, not quite. How are you doing on that? Organic foods, basically. Let's just have a little read. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for supporting my desire to consume and use organic products. Definitely the way to go. We don't know what's on a lot of foods. Sometimes I go into shops and I see food looking so plump and so brightly coloured and so gorgeous. Well, you know, we've grown our own vegetables for a while, not a lot, and on a small scale. And it's, let's say it's a skill that I'm still learning, of course. So I'm very aware that vegetables don't grow that beautifully, that big, that vibrant in colour, that what have you. So it always makes me wonder what they're doing to them. I mean, I'm sure some people are doing positive things to them, but I'm also pretty sure that some people aren't. So I think it's really important. But it's not just about that. It's about making sure that we eat healthily, we eat from Mother Earth, and we don't consume any toxins as well. It's a toxin thing, isn't it? And it might not just be foods, it could be all substances. So this is the shampoos and everything else. And you know what I'm going to say about that. I'll put a link in the description of the video in the end screen for my sway testing video so that we can hold a piece of food, a drink, cosmetics, shampoos, toiletries, whatever we're consuming, and we can sway test to see if it's good for our energy or not. And we don't need to know why or how. We don't need to know the ingredients. We don't need to know anything else. We don't need to get into the science, although you're very welcome to if you want to. We can just ask the question, is it good for me? Is it good for my energy? Does my energy want this? Every time we put something in our mouth or put something on our skin, we're either feeding our health or we're feeding our sickness. So it's basically you're asking the question, is consuming this product going to feed my health? If you go forwards, it's a yes, and if you go backwards, no. So that's a good reminder as well, especially for me. Good night's sleep. Here we go. Yeah, really important. Actually, pretty basic advice coming up from Archangel Raphael with these, but I think it's relevant. A good night's sleep, because one of the programmings we've had is to have 8 hours sleep every night. Some people need it, some people don't, some people need more, some people don't. I think it's all totally dependent on the individual. We know about these energies coming in, the Schumann's resonance and stuff like that. Sometimes we need more, we just need to rest. Sometimes it can be exhausting. We need to take more time out for ourselves than we usually do. That's been coming up a lot lately. And also, very often, you might only sleep, let's say, 4 hours. You look at the clock and then you think, oh, I'm going to be tired all day now because I've only slept 4 hours. If your body only needed 4 hours, that's a belief that's making you feel tired. Your belief that I didn't sleep enough. Okay, if you can release that belief, okay, and not focus on how much sleep you should or shouldn't, let's get rid of the shoulds and just get on with your day, you'll probably find that you feel fine. But we tend to put ourselves in that place of, oh, I'm going to be tired all day because I didn't sleep properly. Really? You know, why don't you choose another belief? Why don't you choose a belief that makes you feel better? But also this idea, I mean, here in Spain, you know, we have siestas. I mean, we don't have to, we don't always, I don't usually, but people do sleep in the daytime. But there's a little bit of a no-no around it in a lot of countries. Why? You know, if you need to sleep, sleep. It's as simple as that. We keep telling ourselves, we should ourselves, shouldn't do this, I should do this. So sleep's a really important one. Obviously, we've got things like lavender oil on the pillow, chamomile tea helps calm us, and it's a natural kind of sedative as well to help us sleep. Turning off all devices, making sure they're in another room, even turning off the Wi-Fi as well could be a good idea if you are struggling with lots of EMF and nulling crystals like shungite and things like that help. So yes, but there's with sleep, I think it's about allowing yourself to have whatever sleep it is that your body wants, you know? We often think there's something wrong with us because we're tired, or there's something wrong with us because we want to sleep more. Our bodies know what they're doing. Our bodies know what they're doing. If only we would listen to our bodies a lot more, I think it would help. The last one is hydration, water. I mean, these are such basics, aren't they? 3 basics. I'm really glad that they came up actually, because hydration is really important, of course, but it could also be the quality of what you're drinking, the quality of water. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for motivating and guiding me to drink more water so that my health, energy, and appetite stay at optimal levels throughout each day. I've found that very often we think we're hungry, but in fact, a glass of water will take that hunger away. So very often, I think we eat when in fact our body wants water. So yeah, drinking more water, and we know how good it is for us because when I'm teaching the sway test, and I think I might mention it in that video that I've just mentioned. If not, I do in the muscle testing one. When you're muscle testing or sway testing, or even dowsing, the more water you drink, the clearer your answers. Your answers are clearer. Now, what does that tell you? You know, you're tapping into the all that is. You're tapping in to the cells of your body, and the answers are clearer when you've drunk more water. So there's also a sign that we need more water than we're drinking, probably. But also, sway test the water that you're drinking, even if it's supermarket bought. Okay, sway test it because some of them, I don't know where they come from. Some of them will be better for your body than others. We've got a water filter. We've got a Berkey water filter. We can really tell the difference. I mean, most waters do test positive for us, but the water that comes out of our water filter, it's really, it's just even more positive. We sway forward even more. It's a more positive yes when muscle testing. So, and I can feel it in the cells of my body. It's just very expansive. It feels really nutritious. Yeah, the drinking the water feels really nutritious. So I think there's a little question there on quantity of water that you're drinking. So have a little check of that, and the quality of the water that you're drinking. I think that's an important one as well. So thank you, Archangel Raphael, for those tips there. I hope they've helped you this week. Something's happening this week for us to need advice, I guess. Let me know how you get on. If you want private reading, get in touch. I'll put a link in the description. If you're new to all of this, check out my first book, Heal Yourself to Happiness. It's free to download from my website at deborahjanesutton.com. The second book, Heal Your Soul, takes the healing to another level. That's available from Amazon. So all links in the description. Love you all. Have a fantastic week. See you soon. Bye for now.